Hello everybody, it's Amiga Rob here, and as I do, I thought I'd make a stream about the YouTube changes to monetization. I've just heard about this evening actually. I know everyone's been talking about them for a few days. I was actually watching a live stream yesterday where a YouTuber goes by the name of Songbird ASMR was talking about these things, and I wasn't really following what the actual changes were, but I knew that they were going to affect her, so and she was quite worried about them, and I've only just had it pointed out to me today about these changes, and I'm not in a position at the minute, well with this channel I'm certainly not making any, I wouldn't be affected because I've only got 14 subscribers and 1,500 views, so that isn't sufficient for to have any problems in that regard. I'd known that they changed it. I think you need to have 10,000 views to qualify, which I thought was a little bit steep, but you know, that's the way the system works. I just want to make sure I haven't got any sound feeding back here. Yeah, I have managed to switch off the camera for me. There we go. So yeah, I mean, I thought the 10,000 view thing was a bit tricky, but not incredibly unreasonable. I think at one point they switched it so that you had to have 100 subscribers, and I have a channel that has 100 subscribers, which is monetized, which is going to be demonetized in a few weeks because it won't meet the requirements, because it doesn't have 1,000 subscribers. It's got over 100. Hadn't made a huge amount of money, but it was a long-term project. It's actually been going for nearly 3 years, so, and I come back to it every now and then, but it had earned a little bit of money through the monetization. I'm gonna have to figure something out about stopping my glasses from reflecting here. But I think what YouTube are doing this time around is a real big mistake, and what they're probably not. I think this particular change, because 10,000 views was not too far off what you'd need to get 100 subscribers. It was sort of the same thing. 1,000 subscribers is a lot, and I think what they're doing is they're going to be breaking a very important stage, and they're effectively throwing away something that has been built over the last few years, which is that the quality of production of YouTube channels is going up, and it's been frightening a lot of people in the wider media, because it's showing that people that aren't trained by the book, people that haven't been on courses or haven't been part of the union and all the rest of it, are actually able by themselves, sometimes one man bands or one woman bands, are able to make videos that compare with full productions that go out on TV, and sometimes it's better. I mean, for example, if you look at any of the stuff that Techmo did right from the beginning, his production levels are really high, even when he didn't have many subscribers. I think you can say similar to guys that did have a bit of TV experience, like Guru Larry. You can say the same about the retro UK guys who have experience in radio. They do really good podcasts, which goes out on YouTube as well. There's plenty of guys that are really producing well, but there's also a lot of guys that only might get 1,000 views per video that are doing pretty slick productions, or are going from having 1,000 views per video and suddenly shooting up into the hundreds of thousands of views and subscribers. But to get there, I think that having either the 10,000 view requirement or the 100 subscriber requirement to get monetized has been quite important. And the reason I think that's important is because it allows you to start getting on that ladder. Now, you might only be earning £2 a month, first of all, maybe £2.50, or maybe £3 or £5, but that little bit of money is I don't know, maybe your web hosting for the year, or a couple of months of your internet connection. And it helps if you're working on a project like this and you've got other work that you do, or you've got your family to look after. That number allows you to visualize and gives you something to aim at. I think by setting the actual barrier to getting into the monetization to 1,000 subscribers is high, because I think to get to 1,000 subscribers, unless you need to make quite a lot of investment in time and effort to get there. Now, I come from a background where I'm a self-taught video person that did sort of make a living from it from a while. I was never particularly great at making a living from it, but I made content which was probably a lot higher quality than most would for the budgets I had, which were generally close to nothing or completely self-funded. And I think what people deliver is really fantastic. A lot of what people do for the money is outstanding, and people are really learning how to use these systems, the software. This girl that I was watching last night, Songbird, she was talking about the camera. Now, I've used great cameras before, but I've got a 50 quid Logitech camera here that I use, and I can't be bothered to use anything else. She was really detailed about the lens she was using, and she wanted to buy a particular lens and something had gone wrong, and she was upset. Now, she had 651 subscribers, and that little bit of money that was coming in from her channel is just going towards that new lens. It means instead of your lens costing you maybe 300 quid out of your pocket, it's costing you 150 out of your pocket, because you might have made 150 in the year, and maybe in the second year you aim to do, and your camera improves where you look a bit better, you might be able to attract a few more viewers, your production experience goes up, you spend more time on it, and you learn from scratch. And I think by setting that barrier at 1,000 before you can earn, and also making it more difficult to connect your site to Patreon, which it seems like they're sort of doing. It seems, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of all the options, but it does seem like they're sort of making it more difficult to connect to Patreon, which is something they're not going to be making any money on, by the way. I'm not aware of them. Maybe they'll buy them out, maybe they have bought them out. Like I say, I don't follow the news. I'm just going to have a sip of this mint tea because I'm going a bit dry in the mouth. Yeah, I think they are definitely trying to. Well, I definitely think the impact is going to be that it's going to make it more difficult for people to come through. Now, what YouTube are probably thinking is that people will still make stuff, and I've heard some people saying, well, particularly people that have made it, people at the top who are earning the money and are not impacted, saying, well, we didn't get paid for years, and we'd started off doing it for fun, which is great. That's pulling up the rope. That's pulling up the rope when you're at the top. That's pulling up the drawbridge. That's great. I can't stand that. We had exactly the same thing 10, 15 years ago when the MP3 started coming out, and new musicians were not able to get contracts that paid them anything, and they were having to just go on tour just so that they could. I'm just wondering what that is reflecting in my eyes, in my glasses. It must be the actual screen. I wonder if I can dim down the screen. Does that make a difference? Yeah, it does make a bit of a difference. Okay, and I've probably got a little bit of that blue light off of the lead thing there. Yeah, you had the same thing with musicians, where you had people that have made millions out of music saying, well, it should just be about the music, and that's great because they've already made all their money. They've made all their money, and they've got a big fat pile they can sit on, and they can release their albums for free. Was it Radiohead released an album for free and said this is what everyone should be doing? Well, that's great. If you've made a great pile of money, you pull up the rope bridge and then you shame everyone that's trying to make a few kopecks off of the the back of the industry. I think I've just completely defocused the camera as well. That should help fix that. I'm trying to switch off this blue light, which is normally really handy because it tells you when it's on, but Okay. Oh, hang on. Off. Is that it? There we go. That might look a little bit better now. Marginally better. So, that's what they're doing. They're all right, Jack. Basically, these guys are happy as Larry because they've made their money. They're at the top of the tree. Not everyone's saying it, but a few people are. Probably egged on by YouTube. Maybe it's their own opinion. They're entitled to their opinion, but they're not impacted by this. This is about people. You know, we're talking about people who've already made a decent amount of money out of this site and who are not going to have to worry about being demonetized. Now, as I say, I think YouTube probably thinking it doesn't matter because we'll still get people making videos and people make videos for fun. But what they might start finding is that they don't progress on quite like they have been. They'll still get content though. They'll still get content. Now, the reasons they're doing it. Let's talk about oh well, it's so we can control better the people that get on, and we can try and reduce the number of people that are trying to use copyrighted content. This is nonsense. Don't believe it. It's about trying to slice back as much as they can what they're going to pay out, because I would guess, although they're giving certain figures about, oh, this is how much it costs us, I would strongly suspect the people they are paying the most money out to, the biggest group, I think the 99% are going to be the ones where they're paying $2, $3 a month to. I think them talking about it being, oh, well, it's only going to affect a certain percentage of YouTubers. I think what they mean is it's going to save them a colossal amount of money, a huge amount of money, because there's going to be a ton of people they don't need to pay out to, which previously they were. And they're saying, oh well, it's only this. That's the only reason you would. It's the only reason you'd begrudge that $2-3 a month to these people. Now it might be they need to do it. It might be. 10 years ago, I went to a video conference where the first guy that was charged with the job of trying to monetize YouTube was speaking, and it was not too long after Google had bought YouTube. I think he'd come in and he'd been given the job. They said, it's losing tons of money, we'll bring you in and you need to make this work. And he was there, I think, for a good 14 months or something, and the basic way he was talking was like, it can't be done, and then he left and he went on to something else, which I don't know if it ever probably ended up getting folded back in. I think it did actually get folded back into YouTube, which was entirely focused on making money from streaming video. So monetization has been a problem for YouTube for a long time, and I'll be honest, I'm not even sure if Google is making money. I know its value is high and it might even post profits, but whether it's actually making money, I don't know. Whether it's still a long-term thing, whereas Amazon, that's making money, but it's got a solid products that it sells, and it creams off tons of money off of everything. And advertising is a very difficult thing to sell. Particularly if there isn't actually a product. I mean, it's advertising and it's high turnover, and the actual sell-through of product might be quite low. It's a very woolly thing. So I'm not sure if they're making money, and it might be necessary for them to try and make it break even. But by doing that, I think they're going to damage the quality of the content coming through. And I think YouTube has some really good content, but a lot of its most popular content is its lowest common denominator. Now, I don't want to judge it for being lowest common denominator, but it's going to become a lot more difficult for those middle tier YouTubers, the tech moans, the guys that are, the Guru Larrys, the nostalgia nerds, these kinds of people, to go out and make the effort to make content that people want to watch in their thousands, in numbers that rival broadcast TV figures. What is the cost? Here's a question, right? What's the cost of production for any of the content that goes on YouTube to YouTube? The cost of production is negligible. It's what they choose to directly fund. They're not taking on any costs. What's the cost of production to the individuals compared to what it is for airtime TV, where they've got staff everywhere? And let me just make it clear, my opinion of the broadcast industry is that it's been held back. It was critically held back by the unions in the 80s. That made it very difficult for new technology to come in. And at that time, our film and TV industry actually had a problem developing, as it should have done. And as a result, we saw a lot of overstaffings. Unfortunately, the technology got better, and there just shouldn't have been as many jobs around. But they stayed there, and now we've got sectors, parts of our media, such as the BBC, that are ridiculously overbloated, that produce content compared to the staff and the expense of very little value. You look at some of the things, Nostalgia Nerd, Toy Polloi, they'll go out with a camera and go to a flea market, a boot sale, have a look around. They're doing bargain hunt. They're doing bargain hunt, one-man bargain hunt. That's the bit that's interesting in the bargain hunt, watching them go around. It's not going to the auction. Nobody cares about that. That's the boring bit at the end. It's going around, because people like going around boot sales and market stalls and all the rest of it. They're doing that, one man. What's the cost to them? They're doing it in HD quality, 4K quality even. BBC aren't broadcasting that stuff in 4K. What's the cost to them? It's nothing, because the cost of production has come down. Nothing compared to what it cost the BBC. So they should be encouraging people to get into that bracket, because all the cost for YouTube is the delivery. That's the difference. The BBC and all the other broadcasters got the advantage of having satellites in the sky, which are expensive, but generally you can cost for them, or aerials, or they also have internet delivery, which is expensive, but they don't have to store as much. YouTube has to store a huge amount. That's where the cost is, storing and doing the digital delivery. And the actual digital delivery is now a lot cheaper than it used to be. And the storage, well, they just need more and more storage. So that's the expense. That's their major overhead. The bandwidth, the delivery, and encoding and the stuff. But yeah, that's a high overhead. That's what they're expensive. It's not in producing the content. So they're spending almost nothing on producing the content. That all comes from people that willingly give them material, and then they put adverts on the front of it, and somewhere along the line they're trying to make a profit. So begrudging giving people that are at the bottom starting off, who are interested in earning money, and there's nothing wrong with doing it. And let's talk about, we should do it for fun. Let me tell you something. I do very little video for fun. I do videos motivated primarily by misery. Absolute truth. I do it because if I wasn't doing stuff, and I've got loads of videos on YouTube now, which I've done on and off over 10 years, and none of them I say none of them are popular. A few have been quite popular because I worked with someone who is quite popular. I didn't do it for fun. Sometimes I think, this is quite fun. But no, I do it because I'm driven by misery. I'd rather be doing something creative because it lets me, otherwise what's left in life? The miserable stuff. I don't have much else in my life which is fun or I enjoy or anything like that. And sometimes I'm looking at stuff thinking, God, why am I even looking at this? And I think, maybe somebody will enjoy this. And I go and I stick something online, I've got another channel that's only not got a huge number of subscribers, where people, some people enjoy it and they tell me and they say, when are you going to do another video? And I go, I think I'm going to leave that. No, I really like it. So I do something else every now and then on that channel, because 2, 3, 5, maybe 20 people enjoy it. That's why I do it. But it's driven by my misery. It's not driven because I'm having fun. It's because, well, if I do that, maybe I'm a bit less focused on being miserable. So all this talk about, oh, it's fun, if I got paid to do what I was doing, that's fantastic. I'd love that. That's a big bonus. If I get paid enough to live on it, then I'm enjoying it. Then I'm walking around with a smile on my face. I'm making videos, hit left, right, and centre. You know, that's what YouTube need to remember. And the talk about, oh, it's going to stop the wrong sort of content and bad actors and everything. Well, as far as I can see, some of their most prominent people, and I'm not talking about PewDiePie because I think what he did wasn't a problem, really. That was trying to take someone out who was getting a bit too big, I think. But then that some of their most prominent people are out, going, oh, I know, I've found a dead body. I think I'll make a video of that. And they're the people that have got millions of subscribers. They're talking about that they fully endorse. Oh, well, that's not dealt with that. And you only have to go for 2 seconds on YouTube to see tons of copyright infringements. And let me just put my position on copyright infringements here, because I think that YouTube are extremely duplicitous about this. I think they're deliberately not very genuine about it, because first of all, it's very easy to see multiple copyright infringements on YouTube that they just let go by, for particularly blatant stuff. I mean, there's TV series and everything, and they sort of try and track some of it, but there's absolutely tons of copyright infringing material on YouTube that they just leave there. They know is there. It would take it's been there for years, would take 3 seconds to look and erase. It would not take long. They could keep on top of it. Very simple indeed, and they don't do it. The other thing about the copyright infringement is the concept of fair use, which I think some YouTubers apply very, very, very liberal interpretations of, which don't make sense. And some YouTubers with content I like do this, but if plenty of the major big YouTubers, plenty of them, use content which they don't really have a right to use. And if YouTube cared about that, they would wipe the whole lot of it out. And what I'm talking about is stuff where you see short captions from copyrighted material, where you see a lot of memes and stuff that come from short passages of video. This stuff, calling it fair use, that doesn't fall within fair use. It doesn't. Fair use doesn't apply to that. In the American interpretation, it isn't. It doesn't mean that you can use something and say, oh, well, I've just snatched a bit of that because I want to use it in this to make a joke. No, it's fair use if you're trying to describe something in it. So a meme doesn't really work. If it was, oh, well, look at this video. I'm showing you this because I want to show you something in this particular video, something that isn't quite right. That would apply as fair use. Not, oh, I'm just incidentally shoving it in. No, that's a copyright infringement in my book. And it's very easy to get into trouble in that regard, because there's probably plenty of things. I think it's a very grey area doing stuff like showing music in a computer game, because in UK law there's a potential copyright infringement there, but then YouTube in theory have a blanket license with the MCPS, so we should be okay, UK people, because anyone that wants to claim should go through the MCPS, and they should be entitled to a slice of any revenue that comes off anyone that's trying to claim some computer game music. But why don't YouTube erase all those things? Because they'd be erasing most of their top YouTubers, and they'd instantly make this thing not very profitable if they were applying it by the book. If it was all things were equal. That's why they're picky about what they delete, why they're trying to handpick the compromises. This is a copyright infringement, so we're getting rid of this one. Well, why aren't you getting rid of that one? That's why they're trying to make it look more complicated than it is. In reality, they could pick these things off very, very quickly. Very quickly. So I can't accept that it's about trying to restrict people who take advantage of putting up copyright material just to try and make a few quid off of it. It's very easy to trap if they do, and then you can redistribute the funds accordingly. So I just think that what YouTube are doing is attempting to slice a few quid off of something that is a hobby for a lot of people, that, and then from some of those people will turn into a potential part-time job stroke career. And there are a few good guys who have carved themselves jobs in video production, in producing media, because they're really good at what they do, and they've been able to step it up to there. I think getting to 1,000 subscribers is really difficult, and keeping the number of hours they want viewed as well in a 12-month period. I mean, effectively, this is the other thing that bothers me. By saying that you have to reach 4,000 hours in a 12-month period, I mean, it means that there's going to be a considerable amount of time before you can actually, in theory, get a channel. I mean, if you really go crazy, okay, fine. You I don't know. It just feels like they're trying to slice it back. And what I hope happens is that a decent rival appears, but it will be difficult because they're trying to head off the Patreon thing. They're trying to head off the ability to go outside to get money through that doesn't touch YouTube, and I can understand why they do that. But I think it is the wrong move to do. But it's so expensive to run a. I think the service that guy ran was called Uala. I don't know if that still exists. Let's have a look. No, I think it's gone. Can't see any sign of it. Yeah, I think it was called Uala, the video service. That might have eventually been rolled back into YouTube as part of their monetization scheme. But yeah, I think it would be really difficult for any rival site to appear, because you need to have huge amounts of storage. Twitch can't do it. Twitch don't allow storing of masses of video, as far as I'm aware. And I am broadcasting on Twitch as well now, so if anybody's watching, hello. What I've managed to do there is get rid of my status screen, so I can't actually see whether I'm live or not, which is really good. And now I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. So that's more or less my opinion. I'm pretty. I don't want to say I'm gutted, but I'm pretty unimpressed by what YouTube are doing with this. It's going to mean that this channel is never going to probably get monetized, and I probably won't bother. I mean, my aim was to try and get to the 10,000 views, and try and make 100 subscribers, and then try and monetize it. And then if I got that far, I was thinking, okay, maybe upgrading some of my gear, and then start looking at. I've got a few videos that about a few subjects I probably have some original thoughts on, that I wanted to do a bit more of a produced video. I mean, one of the reasons I started making video on YouTube a bit more regularly about 2 or 3 years ago was because I used to do stuff as an independent. I did one major project which just took forever to finish, because I was trying to do a commercial quality product without the commercial resource, so I ended up doing a lot of stuff myself. And the it was really well received, but I just didn't sell many, and then had some chances with some quite promising artists, one very established artist, to do a concert film, and it fell through in quite a frustrating way. And then I got a bit sick, and a couple of people said to me, you know, you can't carry on with this. You're what if you get sick, then you're snookered really. You nobody's you got you know you need to get a regular job. Where if you get sick, you've got a bit of protection, which I did. Um, and when I came back to making a bit of video again, I had one ambition to make one certain type of like program, which I ended up becoming a YouTube channel, and I got a few videos with a few views and did all right. But part of it, I wanted to do it quick. I wanted to do something. I wanted to, you know, if I was making a video that was 10 minutes, I wanted to take it 10 minutes to produce it. And then it started to get the few videos I did, which were a little bit more complicated, and I tightened up my workflows a bit and everything. And I've just been starting to think about, well, maybe I should produce stuff that's a little bit more complicated for this particular channel. I sort of planned this channel out a bit, and if I have to get to 1,000 subscribers, I mean, I'm never going to get there. To earn a little bit of money, and the money does help. It helps when you're justifying it to people why you're spending time doing it. Why are you spending time thinking about this, doing this? Well, you know, because it's you know, I like doing video and stuff. And then people go, oh, okay, well, everybody knows it's art for art's sake, money for God's sake, you know. That's what you need. And if you say, well, you know, even if you say, earn a tenner a month off of it, you know, it's 120 quid a year, pays for the electricity bill for the computer, you know. People will go, oh, does it? Yeah, and there's potential. It might, you know, I might do a video and it'll go do, and then I might get a bit more money out of it. Oh, right. Now, I think the long-term thing is the way it's going to pan out is YouTube are going to move towards saying, well, you know what, this service we provide you is quite expensive to run, so because they've sort of chopped out a big chunk, and like I say, I think this is a much bigger chunk of people than they admit. I think the next time around it'll be another big chunk of people gone. And in the end, I think it'll only be a very small group of YouTubers that have over 100,000 subscribers, maybe 200,000 subscribers, that are actually able to monetize. And I think that'll be a pity. And I do hope another platform comes, or a method that allows people to be supported that YouTube can't affect. Or we get into the routine where people can put in their video, this is where you go, with a really easy link, so that people can go and give money to people that are producing this content, which they do for free. You know, there's no direct payment, generally speaking. And I think it's really great that people do opt in to supporting. I've got some kind of spot or swelling here, it's driving me mad. I think it's really great that people do opt in to support the people they like. I always have a nose about and see if I can see how much people are getting, and I think, oh, that's fantastic. Some people can have just a few thousand subscribers, and they're earning, you know, they got a really good conversion rate with the people that are contributing. Some people can have hundreds of thousands of people, and they're getting, you know, a few £100 a month. But a few £100 a month, I would be ecstatic. I would be absolutely ecstatic. If I got £100 a month, I would be absolutely over the moon for anything I did, and I would need to up my production values a little bit, but I don't think I'm too bad. I mean, I always try and make sure that I mean, the image quality on the Amiga streams, I've spent quite a while trying to make sure they're perfect. I'm trying to work out the best way to scale. The colours are very carefully matched to the encoding algorithms. Algorithms is that the coding, you know, they're in rec, whatever it needs to be. I'm quite careful with how I'm record stuff. I do have some stuff that goes out of sync, but it's not visible because I'm not on camera, so that's not much of a problem. But I'd think about doing a bit more in terms of slick production. I'm probably going to put a title sequence in at some point. But it all takes time, and I'm a bit like, I've had a bit of time in my hands, but I'm getting a bit fed up, and I'm probably gonna be a bit more busy in the future, and thinking about moving, and you know, it's the end of the day, when the music industry was demonetized in terms of making records, people stopped making records. I know records came out, but we don't, in the UK in particular, we don't have the music industry like we used to have, and it should be easier now to make music because the technology. I mean, I've got a Scarlett just here. Is this plugged in and on? I'm not sure. Oh, what I don't want to do is switch anything off that disconnects me. Well, over here I've got a Focusrite 18i20 sound interface, which is, you know, it can give you, if with another device, up to 16 or 20 tracks or 18 tracks, I think, of decent quality audio that really, I mean, it's diminishing returns when you invest in sound hardware now. It's as good as you're ever going to need, really, for most people. I've got, you know, it's not too expensive to buy microphones and stuff. You could build a really quality studio and make a record that sounds really good in most people's homes. In fact, better than some studios. People aren't doing it though, because if you can't make money out at the end of the day, you have to justify the time you spend working on a labour of love. You know, you can't justify it because you've got to pay the bills and you've got to do everything else. Oh, I've gone red here. What's happened? YouTube is not receiving enough video information to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Or maybe I've done something wrong, I don't know. Have I done something wrong? I haven't gone red over here. Still all green. I don't know. Yeah, you know, people don't make music. I wouldn't be involved in another music project unless it was with someone absolutely massive. And I mean like Paul McCartney or Brian Wilson, or and the one that really bothered me, that really I sort of thought, oh, I'm giving up now, was someone not far off that caliber that I would. It would have to be someone absolutely massive for me to ever get back into doing concert films and or doing a record or anything. If I produced a record, apart from producing for one of my own projects, but there's just no money in it, and if they do that to YouTube and they just think, well, we can get by with, you know, the people that are happy to work for free, who will do it as a hobby, who will and then we'll have the very cream that will give the decent money to, you know, that they can live on, well, then the whole thing's gonna look a bit crap, to be honest. They've got more than enough content on there that'll keep them going for ages. You know, they probably think, well, what's the point? Do we need new stuff? Do we need new stuff? We've got all this stuff on here. Maybe that's what they think. Maybe they think some of it's timeless. They think we've got an archive that can support them, but I mean, because in an ideal world, they want to get as many people as possible below that threshold, and I can't see that line going any lower. I think the line's only going to go higher. I think it will keep getting higher, keep getting higher, keep getting higher until they're, you know, until they're breaking even, because they're still making money on adverts, or even the demonetized ones, as far as I'm aware. I noticed there's a button on mine that says, if you don't want adverts to show, push this button. And I'm pretty sure if I push that button, my videos ain't going to get seen by anyone. At the minute, I'd probably not get promoted anywhere, but I'm pretty sure if I hit that button, it'll go, algorithm will go, right, put him in the bin. Nobody sees these videos. Sorry, Amiga Rob. Sorry, your other identities that you go on YouTube with. That's pretty good, that. I should do this in 3D. I reckon I can figure out a way to do this in 3D. So, anyway. That's my feeling on that. I've ranted for 40 minutes. I've had one person viewing me. I've got an idea who that might be. They should probably be asleep. At least I think I've got one person viewing me, unless it's both these people and me. Let's have a look. It's every possibility both people are me. Trying to see if I've got another another player open here. Yeah, just say there's two unique people. One's probably me. I mean, this channel, I really don't understand how the algorithms work, and I've been trying to exploit things so I can get more viewers. And I'm quite surprised that the live streams have had so few hits on them, really, because there was a time when you did a live stream and they were really pushing it out to people, and it just doesn't seem. I remember the first time I did a live stream on another channel, I had about 13, 14, 15 viewers very quickly. But I guess that is just the way it goes. Anyway, for anyone that watches this, I very much appreciate you watching this far. It's a pretty miserable video. I'm a pretty miserable person. I just throw stuff together. Thank you for watching. I've got my hat on because I've come out of the cold and because I'm going quite bald. But thank you for watching. Feel free to like. If you haven't subscribed already, there might be a subscribe button around here, unless they reserve that for people who've got over 30,000 views in future. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll probably be back in a few minutes streaming some miserable computer game. Cheerio! Keep it